Yeah, we're live! Round of applause! I love that bird. That bird sound was great. That's Graham. So good. So we're here at SpeakuP Monday, every Monday, as you know, Tropical Nomad, and this is episode number 379. And look, we love what we do, and you know, out of the 379 episodes that were now the 379th, I have some really favorite people that I love to see. You're one of them, right?
Thank you.
You're one of them, right? She's been on 5 times. I think it's the 5th time now, right?
This is the first one that's going to be about me.
Yeah, the first one about you, but 5 times. And, you know, so we're going to be talking about, you know, about blockchain, about Web3, about the future. We're going to be talking also about Melissa personally, because how many of you here kind of know what she does, but don't really know the person? I suspect it's quite a few of you, right? So what we love to do here, people inspire people, unity in diversity. These are the 2 pillars that SpeakuP Monday stands upon, right? That's the container that we create. So inspiration is just a form that kind of has to come out by default, right? So, you know, before I start, I've got to say tonight's episode is being brought to you by Bali Solve, Dodo and the crew. And if you know Bali Solve, they do great work when it comes to visas and PMAs. And if you get into a spot of bother, they're very good as well. So look, just starting us off, Melissa Kurtcan of SATOSHI21, as we said, one of the largest ecosystems of its kind, I think, in Southeast Asia. You know, what started this concept and idea of creating such a large group of people? Was there like a purpose in the beginning, like a deeper sense of purpose? Please explain.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this invite. I'm a big fan of you. Actually, last year, before the Crypto Week Bali, we started here the first time I was in your show. And I remember the first time I was passing by here around COVID, and I remember seeing your show for the first time, and I was like, I didn't know anyone at that time, like not a person. Like now we're talking about all this community, Southeast Asia and everything. And then I was sitting, and again here, like I feel still that excitement of well, now I'm there kind of feeling. I mean, it's cute. It's nice. Thank you for the invite, and always the support. Well, when we started doing what we are doing, we didn't think that it was going to be this at all. I got stuck here. I was not even supposed to be in Bali that long, not at all. I came here like renting my house with the cat in it and like everything basically, just for 2 months, just for a change, getting away from cold winter in Europe. And COVID exploded, and then things got weird, like because I was not living anywhere. I was not living in London. I was not living in Istanbul. I had this like whole couple of months of camper van tour, like building communities, that and this, and then like here I was here, and having Bitcoin saved my life at that time. It was the price surge after COVID, and then I wanted to meet the other Bitcoiners. So I did one event there. I met G, my co-founder from SATOSHI21, and we just like informally started gathering in each other's houses and everything, and it was our friend circle. But for me, the purpose was kind of like deep down there, that bleeding wounds that you have, like because I'm coming from a country where we all of us have sort of an identity issue. Because the background of everyone is so diverse, and there's some groups who cannot speak their language, mother tongues, need to hide their own identity. There's some groups they don't even know what's the rest of the crowd is thinking about. So we all live in our little bubbles, and the community, and sometimes you are part of that community, you don't necessarily respect their principles, their core beliefs. Sometimes, but you still have that willingness or need to belong somewhere. And all these were like at the core of what I was actually trying to do, like because I believe in some sort of like borderless or like some unity, some form of coming together in a borderless way. And I always traveled a lot and everything. So at the very basis of it, crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin, SATOSHI21 is the community now. There is that finding out some meaning of our togetherness and contributing to it, basically.
You know, one of the things that, by the way, IU, we need to probably kill the fan here. Up there, fan, yeah. The fan, yeah. So, one of the things which we connect on is, and Ty as well, actually. So Ty was on here last week, and that was, or week before, sorry, and from NFT Bali. It's one family, right? So he was homeless, right, for large swathes of time. With me, as you know, I grew up in a children's home for 18 years in London, very multicultural. And, you know, the racism, sexism, violence, all the stuff that you read in the newspaper was happening, right? But what I found was a sense of community, because when you are amongst yourselves, you can have this challenges with each other. Right. But when there's a goal over here that all of you can galvanize around and head towards, this stuff stops, and the focus becomes that. Whilst you're going towards that, then we have these moments of humanity where we see each other for who we really are. Human beings, right? So, and that is a frequency that I find with you, that I find with most of the guys here who are building large communities, actually, that there's at the soul and the core of it, there's a deeper sense of purpose, which either comes from being apart from it, or being enamored by it, or being repelled by it, that we kind of come back around and reconnect again. You know, so on that tip of reconnection, you know, is there like a deeper part of you that is within SATOSHI21 that you don't connect with often, that might actually be a huge driver as to why it's been so successful?
Well, success is a very strange animal, right? It cannot be captured. It's probably a feline side. Like, it doesn't come when you just, like, when you try to call for it. It's, I think it only comes when you're kind of connecting with yourself, and like it's a mission of self-actualization. And I've been always a misfit, if that's the right word. Misfit in being a nerd, misfit in terms of being a lone wolf always. So it was like, I mean, I'm doing all this community thing, like, which happened to be my thing, like, as if everybody has that, like, the little magic tool. But I'm not at all like that. Like, I'm a super, like, private and by myself sort of person. But there comes a moment where we all get together and we lose ourselves in that immersive conversation. And it's not about like, oh, give me your number, here's mine. It's not about that. It's like kind of together doing something, basically. That I love a lot. Like now, one reason to have a space, basically, a community house, whatever it is, was that basically like to host people and like to facilitate that little ambience around where people can actually belong to something that is not there and not gonna exist when everybody goes home, but it's still there, that idea. So I think I find the meaning of community in that, because I mean, I always was like very like successful in school grades kind of person. Was working a lot, like very well read and everything, and gave it a lot of thought about like how the universe should work, how to describe it, how to live a life and everything, because I studied philosophy and mathematics, all the base core sciences to like to have as a tool to make meaning out of it. And now that's like I'm seeing from like a couple of years after what like the S21's journey and everything, and then I realized like, yeah, okay, now I can say like, well, okay, that was the direction, but I felt so lost in the process, and it was not always like this sentiment of like doing something, and it's like you don't really need to put so much effort to it. It's like it's flawless. It's because you like kind of find yourself doing it, and things like this, like SpeakuP Monday, for instance. I was thinking yesterday about that. It's helped me now that I have more confidence to be my idiosyncratic self, you know, because it's easy to find like similar weirdos and to talk about like some weird stuff and like not cared about like building an impression and everything. Like before it was like your career, that and this, like you were the shadow of your CV basically. Now I'm like, okay, this is what I want, like, and I'm gonna do this because it entertains me and it speaks to my needs, and then people enjoy it, and then it creates that loop that I define success basically. So yeah, that was that, like finding that loop basically was it for me.
I love that. And look, so I know that people here, as we went around the audience before, you know, there's lots of things that people want to know tonight. So we're going to get to that very soon, I promise. You know, but here's a story that I remember that I'd like to share. It's a short one. I remember I was at like a meetup, right? And it was at the place.
What did I do?
It was at the place where SATOSHI21 has taken over and is opening up very soon, right? It was there. And I remember, I think Emilio or someone invited me to be there, and I was there. And I was just sitting around, just waiting. And then the mic went around, and there was like a pitch competition, and then it came to you. I didn't know you at this time, right? And then you started to speak, and I was like, oh, all right. And I looked at you and thought, oh, attractive woman, you know. Then you start, and then I thought, after you gave really long answers.
Yeah, I give long answers.
Yeah, but those answers were so intelligent and well thought out. And I thought, this woman's amazing, right? And then, you probably don't want me to say this, but I'm going to say it, right? So what you're looking at on the Mensa scale, right, is actually a genius. So ask her afterwards what her score is. Don't ask her now, but right? See, she didn't, but she is. But like, that's the thing with you, right? So you have this beauty within you, but this intellect as well, and it's really powerful, right? I remembered that story, and I just wanted to share it live on TV so everyone knows. So look, getting to be why we're here now, so let's talk about SATOSHI21. So most people here probably know why it's called SATOSHI21, but let's give those people who maybe don't know, right, what is SATOSHI21? Why did you call it that, and what does it mean?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, thank you for all the blushing.
The hot seat!
Yeah, this is like a therapy seat to go dive deep into. Satoshi is the creator of Bitcoin, right? Why exactly? Because we gave a thought, and like it was one thing or the other and everything, and remember, it was not to, let's create a community, the Southeast Asia Web3 founders community, kind of like, there was nothing, not much of a planning even. It was kind of like our WhatsApp group chat. And G actually like put that name. And in time, it's like, well, what does it represent? Like 21 is the Bitcoin's limited supply. And actually, if you look at it, Satoshi is the creator of digital scarcity. before it was always like a copy of a copy of a copy. It was impossible to actually build something in a decentralized way, because you needed a third party, a trusted third party, to make sure the copy you got is the original one, is the legit one. Otherwise, like, the money would be infinitesimally reproducible, basically. So it is kind of that idea, that invention that negates all the need for central authorities. It's like still today gives me, goosebumps.
I can see it. Yeah,
because I mean, most probably because it's very deep. Like that story with governments, with the police, and their disproportionate use of violence, oppression, and everything. When you go through all that, it's kind of like it's a trap. Like you cannot think out of it, and it coincides for me to started learning about Bitcoin. Blockchain 2013. I started my master's in cognitive sciences, and it was a Turkey-wide resistance, basically, Occupy Gezi movement. And during that whole time, we actually watched the democracies turning into the tyranny of the elected. So when you start doing something for people, with their support and everything, because of that disproportionate power accumulation, you have eventually so much power in your hand that you can do whatever you want at the expense of people's own health, life, welfare, whatever it is. So Bitcoin symbolizes all that's it does for financial world. It's actually what makes that decentralized communities and that dream possible. And for community, because we take blockchain as kind of like that algorithmic description of a utopia, basically. If it's possible on this on some sort of technology realm, then we can basically try to mimic it, right? Not to concentrate the whole power that can change the totality of the system on one person, basically. We can try to distribute power in a way that it's not one person can change or act as a and harm the totality of or individuals, basically. So I think the community is a byproduct of that revolution. Initially, it was just available for miners, the developers, and now with different sort of Web3 projects and everything, it's open to everyone. And what it's symbolizes, it's basically that chance to live. To freely associate with whoever, wherever in the world, and that's beautiful. That's what we are in this world, right?
Yeah, love it. So, what we're going to do? So, Guzman, Ayu, we've got that microphone there. So, before, what you don't know, those watching you at home, is that we had a microphone 30-second share with everybody in the audience, right? It's a full house. And there were some really interesting questions, right? So instead of me asking all the questions, I'm going to get you to ask some questions early. So if we grab that third microphone, if we give it to Robert, say, I remember your name because same name, Rob, we have a connection. Then Barry, you're next, brother, right? Okay. So just give it to Rob. So Rob, in about 3 minutes, yeah? I want you to think about the question that you gave earlier on, why are you here, right? When I asked you before, and I want you to ask Melissa in about 3 minutes. So, Melissa, I'm going to give you a time limit because it's so much more fun, right? So, we've established what Satoshi is, right? What I'd love to hear from you is, what are you doing with Core?
Yeah.
Why is it here, and what is it looking to do? What is Core? Why is it here? And what is it looking to do? Okay.
It's going to be long. No, not
3
that
minutes.
long. Not that long.
3
3
minutes.
minutes. Okay, sure. So the reason we named it S21 Core, it was a reference to Bitcoin Core. which was the first software application on Bitcoin network. I like that it was like kind of still reference to it, but it's also playful enough to represent everything that is core for us, for the society, for what we are doing, and like that core belief that keeps things together, right? And then I realize also it stands for community and reciprocity, and it's very essential for me. In my mind, in my theoretical mind somewhere, it doesn't break down like that, because reciprocity, what makes a group of people a community. Otherwise, it's just like a mass, basically. So what we are trying to do there is to like build a like what we call the Web3 house, but a center with like art, culture, kind of like that idea of enlightenment that is like very old now, actually, but it's still valid, you know, like, because what enlightenment stands for is basically everyone having the capacity, or like making their understanding, their comprehension, their cognitive abilities to like exercise and make it to use it basically freely. So that means like what keeps communities from mob psychology, not because I say so, because you find your direction and the community empowers you to be your idiosyncratic yourself and find your way towards success. But in a way, it keeps it that it's not harmful to the totality of the group. So it's kind of like that cultural space, like building the different culture of engagement with each other, and a habit to like also try to always give more than we take from that community and everything. Like, so it's not going to be a crypto house. We're building it in a way that it accommodates a lot of artwork, artists, different sociology, anthropology, kind of different conversations, and like a little lifestyle, a fun lifestyle around it.
You know, one of the things which I realize now, right, is some of the most interesting people that I've interviewed, philosophy is the bridge between all of them. They have all, in some way, shape, or form, studied philosophy. I'm not saying everyone here should study philosophy. Study philosophy, everybody! I'm not saying that. You should. But I'm just saying it's one thing I just connected with. So we're going to do this. We're going to set up some interesting borders for this one, right? So we're going to have questions, 2-minute answers, no more. I'd love to see you move. So we've got Rob, we've got Erhard, and who else had an interesting question? You, which is the link from AI and that. A question from you, and a question from Graham. Right. So we start with you, Robert. Yeah, that's right. You've got time to think.
My question is about gift culture. And about
Sorry, what culture?
gift culture.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about the bottom billion in the human kingdom. And as we're based here in Bali, I'm wondering what might be our vision for S21 and the magic that we can create for maybe women and children that are less maybe marginalized or less don't have the same advantages that we have. So what are your thoughts or feelings around that vision?
Wonderful. And if you pass that back to Barry behind you, we'll go to Barry. So, mate, you're going to be next.
Yes. Okay. So this is very this is something I care about a lot, because before all S21 thing, like we had this company who helps startups in sustainability. And I was not as passionate as I am now with S21. And the reason was like, well, I love environment. I want to make a difference, and I want us to protect it way better. But before that, I care about, like, still there are so many things that we are failing at providing to each other. And like, for me, one of the most important things is that, like, the fair redistribution of wealth. and like all that related issues, hunger and like not having the enough resources, but also education, because most of the things when we are complaining in our modern society, like even if we have that resources to make for ourselves, it doesn't come to like it cannot be resolved because of that of that big gap in the society, that access gap that feeds and produces it every single day. And of course, now with because we are talking with you too, and like Robert is doing amazing things in Bali. And one of the things I'm actually like super happy to have Yudi also, to have a shout out to him, is that like everyone in the team is sort of engaged with these activities, but I don't want to do only donation, charity kind of things. Like I want to do it, like I want to create like something that could eventually turn it into an investment for those people. So that's why I care, like creating that ecosystem basically. So what we are thinking basically to use in the hub, always put like if you buy one coffee, you also donate like the equal amount to another person, kind of like little charity things. But I want to think a little bit more systematic and holistic, like how we can actually build an ecosystem that each time we do something, we contribute to a solution of a problem, not a temporary not a temporary shadow patch on it, basically. So, I'm looking forward to. We spotted actually like a lot of local NGOs who could also accept crypto in sort of like in some sense, and we're working on it. But we're all open to actually like figure out how we can do it collectively. Thank you for that question.
Love that. So before we go to Barry, so people here, quick show of hands, who knows what Bhinneka Tunggal Ika means? Raise your hand. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Raise your hands. Raise it properly. Don't be shy. All right. Who doesn't know what Bhinneka Tunggal Ika means? Raise your hand. Hi. Great. Okay. Good. So we're all here in this beautiful place called Bali, which is part of Indonesia, right? So Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is the motto of Indonesia, which is unity in diversity, right? Okay, important note. Next one, gotong royong. Raise a hand. Who knows what gotong royong means? 1, 2, 3, maybe 5. Great. Who doesn't know what gotong royong means? Wonderful, great. I have no idea myself. No, I'm joking. So, gotong royong, the way which I interpret it anyway, is how we can come together as a community to solve a challenge, right? How we can come together as a community to solve a challenge. So you've got Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity and diversity. Gotong royong, coming together, and how we can solve a challenge, a burden that the community solves together. The final one, Pancasila. Raise your hand, know what Pancasila is. All right, good. Raise your hand if you don't know what Pancasila is. Great, good. So Pancasila are the 5 guiding principles of the philosophy of Indonesia, right? These are really important to know because we're here and we're kind of wondering why we love it here, but we don't really understand why. These 3 things hold some of the keys of why that is. Why do I bring it up? Because what you do, now I'm getting a few goosebumps, what you do is incorporate that, maybe you know it, maybe you don't. So in SATOSHI21 and some of these, what we called Silicon Bali back in the day, where we have a whole bunch of really interesting people doing great projects, which we called codename Silicon Bali. There's a group of about 23 of us. And that's why every month we have blockchain discussions. So each one of them has embraced these 3 principles or ways to be guided, whether they know it or not. So with SATOSHI21, you have Indonesian teams, You have foreigner teams all working together, all coming together. Important. Barry.
So I guess the question is about how what I'm working on could integrate with SATOSHI21. Is that Mike, what you want me to ask?
Yeah, so keep the question to about 45 seconds. There you go. You can do it, Barry.
Right. Well, I'm interested in integrating communities. Like we've helped people buy land together in groups. So we started with 10 people buying a piece of land together a couple of years ago. Now we've got 50. We're raising 55 lots for another piece of land and people to make that land productive. So we can actually create food sovereignty, have multiple sources of revenue coming in from that land. But basically, we're getting people to work together, and you create a marketing, network together that's actually creating something that we can use and utilize then and there by connecting with ourselves, others, and the community at large, creating housing possibilities on it as well. That's one part. And the other part is professional services. So I've got a company where I was the director, typical old approach, the pyramid approach, someone at the top. Didn't feel right for me, so I've changed that into a membership-owned enterprise now. So everybody who's a member is the beneficiary owner, and basically we're creating doing the same services, professional services, but we're working together, and everybody can contribute something to the betterment of that enterprise and being of service. So is this something that can integrate with SATOSHI21? And
Right. Yeah. So pass the microphone on over here. Yeah. While Melissa, I'm giving her time to think about the answer. You see that? We're natural. We're friends. I love you. You're good. You're my sister. All right. Yeah.
That was not enough. I will need to think about it. I don't want to say hasty okay, because land ownership for me, it's one thing that doesn't really settle well since ages, owning a piece of land kind of things. It's just I got the hub, and it's my first immovable, basically. I don't believe in that concept. It's still weird, anchoring somewhere, rooting somewhere and everything. I don't even do that in my hometown. So it's kind of it empowers me to think that we own something that's basically intangible, and it also involves our interconnectedness with it and everything. So I just need to think a little bit, but definitely for the mentorship, for sure, how that would because I really care about this whole okay, I could have done this anywhere. I don't have that much attachment to my home country. It's a beautiful country. I love it, and I share that culture and everything. But it's all about that journey. You'll never know where you're going to find that magic and the glue of that thing, that togetherness. So for me, it happened to be in Bali, and obviously here I need to respect the actual owners of these this little island, this country, not to create a hierarchy between everyone, because that's obviously something that I'm against, but to start with and also, or not to be from above, as if you are the person who's kind of distributing that providence and that and this. So it's a very hard balance to basically digitizing assets here, and also this that shared ownership, and so there's a lot to think. But in terms of being a player in the ecosystem, in terms of having your activities in the space in Bali, we are always open to have discussions and to find out more.
Thank you, Barry. Great question, mate. Yes. So, by the way, Property, one of the groups here, one of the sponsors of the show, Bali Solve, also do property stuff, if that's what you're interested in. Quick plug for the sponsor, it's okay. Over to you, yeah.
Hi, Melissa. Quick one for you. Web3's obviously been around for quite a while, and AI is kind of kind of leapfrogged over it a little bit. But I think there's a space for the both. There's a synergy between the two because essentially AI runs on tokens. Fundamentally, the underlying thing is tokens. You have a token to do interrogation on ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff. Just wondering where you see them going. Do you see them kind of coming together as a result of AI being more prevalent now? But must be a synergy between the two, and just wondering what your take is and where you see the future of the two going in the fullness of time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So my take with personally, there's of course a lot of possible product that can come out of that synergy between AI and blockchain and crypto and everything. But essentially, what AI is, how AI is a tool to do certain tasks, is a bit different than what blockchain is as an infrastructure, right? And I think one thing, for instance, what we want to do, one of the dream and vision that I would like to incorporate in that core, because now we are going to do AI. And I actually started my cognitive science masters to study AI. But then it was kind of for me, it was not really because I was more interested in consciousness and I was interested in brain, basically, that living organism that gives birth to things that's not there in us, I think it's important to go through those stages of fear, the doubt, then to finding that courage and everything. So I was more interested in that journey and that personal experience side of it. For AI is an amazing tool, and there are millions of unicorns lying there, obviously. But and the same for crypto and blockchain too. But what I'm more interested in is to create a culture of mindful entrepreneurship in a way that we are conscious about the results, the consequences of the technology we are producing, right? And this is again a very old idea. It feels like I'm thousands years old. From Sartre, basically. It's that's the distinction between what makes a scientist a technician or a wise person, or that guru of whatever. If you're being mindful about what you're creating and everything, and what's going to be the use cases. Is it going to be is it going to destroy some jobs and whatever? That's the easiest thing. But so my involvement for now with AI is to through the open ethics committee, and my also contribution would be around that, to talk about the ethics and to experiments of where it could go, and is it actually a good thing? Is it worth having a couple of $1 million business for a while, for the humanity and everything? So I think these questions are all open, and the merge of it definitely, if a technology or any product or any business, it's not good for the use of masses, borderless, fast, then we don't need to do it crypto, blockchain, whatever it is. So there's always this interrogation of what's the essence of that marriage between crypto, blockchain, and something else, basically. So yeah, if that answers your question.
Great question, great answer. So another question over here. We got the microphone coming here, just over here. So while we do that, just a quick reminder. So Bhavna, where are you? There you go. So Sister Bhavna Pariha over here, SpeakuP Monday co-host, wonderful person, storyteller, amazing marketing, and combines these working for top Fortune 50 companies, 500 companies in the US, and brings it into this beautiful way of storytelling and marketing and all of that good stuff. She's an amazing host as well. So she's hosted, so once a month we do an AI collective intelligence panel. And she's hosted, I think, 3 or 4 of them now, right? And in there, one of them was about this, actually. It was about ethics and, how do we, find a way forward? And that was with a man who's a friend who's advising our AI conference. A guy called Adrian Blackwood, who's done quite a few projects, used to run many projects in the European Space Agency, a real brain. So that was very interesting. So if you want to know more about that, just go back into the SpeakuP Monday library on YouTube and you'll find 4 episodes with our sister Bhavna Parihar co-hosting beautifully. So, my brother, over to you.
I think you mentioned that you have invested in a few startups as well, blockchain startups. Can I know the top 5 investments that you have done, which have launched? And secondly, a question for everyone else. Have you guys, other than buying Bitcoin, actually used blockchain to do anything like lend, borrow, RWA, real-world assets? That's what your game is. Has anyone actually done a real-world application so far?
Love it. Love it. So while you think about the answer, I'm going to give a quick response. So my brother, thank you. Great question. So this monthly blockchain that we do, there's about 25 of us in this group. Many have got use cases, which is really good. I won't go into them now. One guy in particular, he won't mind me speaking because we've spoken about it. A guy called Anta Rahman of Baliola, and he's the coordinator of Bali Blockchain Center. Bali Blockchain Center was basically Denpasar government basically directed and supported him, asking him to create and use that building to create blockchain, Web3, to be the second largest revenue generator next to tourism. So what he's done, him and his Baliola team have created the first layer 0 blockchain in Indonesia. So Bitcoin, Ethereum are like layer 1. So layer 0 blockchain, I think it's the third in the world. There's Polkadot, there's Cosmos Network, and then now it's called Mandala Chain. So he's a guy they've got multiple projects going. Very interesting guy to speak to. Also, 2 weeks ago, there's a guy called Tyrone Williams, NFT, or it's called the Collective Solution. It's another man who's also has a wonderful group, and there are many others, but I'm just giving you just a few there. Speak to me after if you want to be connected to them, and we'll go to Melissa's answer.
I kind of not sure if I said I invested in startups, which is the question for you. So, okay, can I still go on?
Of course you can.
But one thing I was wondering, so you think there's a kind of hierarchy between investing in just Bitcoin and investing in real use case like the something that is, because I personally would contest that idea of that hierarchy, because the real crypto projects are startups. Crypto essentially is a fundraising way for startups. The whole thing starts with like a technological solution, and that's why it was for like so long open source. Because it doesn't matter like if anyone is going to copy it or whatever, and it was the most innovative space for a while, and the problems were actually a mix of computer science problems, the real finance problems, and like involving political science issues, the governance, that and this. So I personally wouldn't make that distinction between the realist. I mean, of course, like DeFi, is it only that? Like, yes, not, but peer-to-peer lending has a tremendous amount of influence. Actually, like it makes a lot possible. But when you restricted it with real-world investments, like real use cases, the asset involving things and everything, you need to be compliant there. Like, you cannot avoid from that because you're a business essentially, and you're implementing some Web3 technology. And I think you should be compliant 100% also, but the real beauty of the products like the projects like Bitcoin and like some others. It's actually like being that open source, borderless, decentralized. Like it's something that you cannot possibly regulate or like get the like grasp of, and it's everywhere. It's like once you launch it, it's already a part of human heritage kind of things, and that's what I think it's like. Yeah. the fun part.
All right, thank
So
you.
your portfolio now.
Yeah, thank you for the, it was actually that was actually directed at you because you said you invested in 5.
So we can hear your portfolio, sure.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I've
yeah,
seen big is YGG from Indonesia. So.
Yeah. So look, you got it.
No, it's for you. But the YTG of Indonesia funding related things, like you mean in Indonesia?
So YGG, the founder is Indonesian. They basically started. Yield Guild Games is the biggest gaming guild globally. They have YGG Japan as well now and YGG Asia. I think they received, $30-40 million or something like that, and the founder is Indonesian.
And you're asking the projects he invested in Indonesia, right?
Or anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you invest in crypto?
All right. Okay. So just to be clear, thank you. Pass it to Graham. Yeah. Great. So the funding, is as a platform which is basically adding value to entrepreneurism in Indonesia, right? Okay. And the 5 different divisions that I mentioned earlier on. So where we focus, the first year is actually pre-seed and seed, and we focus on Indonesian entrepreneurs. So the early stage, the later stage will come later. Our typical ticket size is like 50 million rupiah, 50 million to 500. So it's in the lower range, right? So we don't invest as yet in Web3 projects. Yeah, just to be very, very clear. So, but what I'm saying is that, so the community of which I am part of is like a Web3 blockchain community. The reason I'm part of that community is because they call me, I was the tourism architect first, and then they call me the blockchain architect. I just love bringing good people together to do good things. And for me, it doesn't matter about the industry. So I'm personally in about 10 different industries. And each one, I work with the leaders of each. So in the blockchain world, I'll be happy to give you some names afterwards of the different projects. 5 Harvest O is another great project. The guys who are on that before, Sim, Sabdo, and obviously Gasian, who are on there. I've mentioned Mandala Chain already. I mentioned Bali Blockchain Center. I mentioned Baliola. There's another one as well, which is the biggest community of Indonesian Web3 blockchain and so on. There's a guy called Michael Bonnick, which is Republic Rupiah. So there's 5 great projects, great initiatives in the Web3 space that I know personally through the people who founded those organizations. Okay, so Graham, you have a question. Yeah. Great question, by the way. Thank you.
I'm not going to lie, I have no idea what anyone's talking about right now.
That's what I thought.
But I will say I have that sense that Robert had about you, and I want to say thank you for validating me as a weirdo as well. Because I am a weirdo that loves community, and just a long story, very, very short, I discovered I could paint a couple of years ago, and it's led me on a path to set communities up around the world. I quit my corporate job, and now I've set up a charity in England for kids and adults now to receive art for mental health, and I also set up sea swimming groups by accident in the UK, and then intentionally in New York, which is a community that's running to this day, called the New York Dippers Club. Shout out to my New York Dippers Club. But I was wondering, as a novice who has no idea about all of this stuff, what is the entry to the core? How do I go about coming along and knocking on the door? And because I'm shitting myself about learning about this, but I feel like I should, because I feel like I could actually entwine this into my charities and my communities to maybe help fund them. And yeah, that's my question.
Sure, thank you so much. Of course, so far, all the community activities was for crypto blockchain professionals. That's a fact. So we didn't have, actually, lovely brother, Sim's group was the beginners for crypto blockchain group. So they were sending if anyone in the group talking a little bit more advanced, go to S21, and we were doing the same. So it was not to overlap with our efforts and not to step each other's feet. But now Core is a community house. So eventually, if you want to implement any of this technology into what you're doing or like learn a little bit, like the first of all is like exposure is like the biggest thing. So the first meeting you're probably not going to understand anything, and the second one is going to like a little bit going to be a bit more softer. Then maybe you're going to find someone who is a little bit more willing to explain a couple of concepts, and then you're going to go like search for a couple of things. And so it's like eventually I'm envisioning kind of like the adult campus life, and obviously like it's there's a lot to learn, but still for me, for all of us, there's a lot to learn, because it's not really like the first couple of years of like crypto, blockchain or whatever. Like it's very hard to like self-proclaim an expert, but eventually the resources is endless, and what we really care about is to bring the people who did that before, basically, for whatever you are doing. So like if you're talking about like how to implement in charity, like once a while like there's going to be a talk who did that for their projects. If like there's going to be people who built a crypto exchange before, if you want to like go towards that, like in Indonesia, in like the global arena. And so eventually like how to get involved is like, it's not like Plato's academia, right? Like we are going to examine your knowledge and everything, and I agree. Like everyone is going to be like, I mean, generally it's kind of like intimidating, or it's tech, it's finance on top of it, like, and so many things to learn and everything. It is intimidating. But I would take like core a little bit more like kind of like that culture, basically, like why these people are here, like okay, because they don't want to be ruled by like a certain authority or whatever, like that and this, and that will, if you're sharing that issue, like that, those values, like that, there you belong there too. And how you can actually implement that, like we have consultancy services, our mentors and everything, like we actually provide that those services to like kind of implement the technology one way or another to like these projects, or like to bring the partners to work on your project, or like somehow do the workshops and like basically tackle like whatever. And not to be intimidated is important, because maybe we have something to learn from you. So it's always an exchange. Maybe one question, even to like trying to understand something, it teaches to another person something. So it's like always an exchange. So welcome.
You know, thank you again for that. And look, I just want to quickly, for those tuning in, SpeakuP Monday, episode 379. Talking to Melissa Kurtcan, SATOSHI21, opening up in Batu Belig, H.E.R, and we've spoken a little bit about H.E.R and Web3 blockchain inspired. Now, one thing I'm looking at, which I really appreciate, I've got Tracy over there from H.E.R DAO. Say hi, Tracy. That's another great woman to speak to, by the way. H.E.R DAO in the house. Pleasure. And what I also see that you don't, I see some beautiful women, powerful women in the space here in Bali, which I think is incredibly important. And that's one reason why I love you, Mel, because you're doing it, right? So now I have a few questions, and I'd love to hear from you too, Sister C, right, after. So think about something that's coming your way. So the microphone is with you, my dear. So is there a question that you have, or a comment you'd like to make?
Yes, so hello, Melissa. Nice to join from a VC company. It's my first time to be here. We're quite excited. And my question is about the, your company management. So, the background is, in the past 18 months, it's been really challenging. The FTX, these kind of issues, hackers, etc. So I believe that everybody into this crypto space, because they believe, as well I'm still believe, we can make our fortune in the way we want, freedom, trustless, etc. Right? But we all know, right? Like the 18 months has been really, really challenging. So many projects couldn't make it. I mean, they just done. They just couldn't complete it. And so my question is, how could you maintain, or what kind of strategy you are like to apply to keep the passion, the passion of your members, right? To trust, they can still find the things that they're looking for in your community. That's my question. Thank you.
brilliant question. Thank you so much. Well, so, okay, I want to also give a shout out, and I want to invite them later for 5 minutes to talk about these. Like, we have partners here. H.E.R is one of them. We are they are like a global hackers community and operating as a DAO. And Nakama Indonesia is one of them. To incubate and accelerate projects starting with Indonesia, and so because eventually we are going to invest in these projects, and obviously we care about. We just started our pitch events also to listen to young talents and their projects and everything. And eventually we want to start from kind of industry specific products that already generates income. Has a proper business model and everything. But what's SATOSHI21? And this was one right after FTX happened, actually, because Terra also was really heartbreaking for me, way more than FTX for me. Because I kind of we all founders we don't believe in centralized exchange. It's basically negates all the value of crypto. It basically means that okay, we invented this thing for to hold this. You don't need any third party, and then giving it to a third party. And then I actually turned my High Human conference talk right after FTX about open blockchain values. And why is it important for us to now go back, after 10, 13, 15 years later, go back and read Satoshi's white paper as a manifesto? How it's actually solved with in a principled way, a technical problem, a solution to a technical and financial problem, but incorporating so much values that's actually that can be used as a moral compass of any entrepreneurship activity, basically. So decentralization is obviously one of that. There's no weird. If you can remove that trust element, not necessarily because we don't trust each other. It doesn't need to be we don't trust each other. Well, we shouldn't, most probably, but. It's because there's something that we can trust with way more certainty. That is mathematics. For that to actually do its job, and for that to not fail to do what we are all agreed that thing to do, basically. Does it always work? No. Of course, all these systems are. Not always immune to different attacks and everything, and that's how it grows, basically. But I think keeping it the essence of decentralization and what it makes crypto and blockchain projects that basically itself. It's really important. Otherwise, the hybrid models, of course, you need to make sure it's going to be hybrid, it's going to be compliant, there's going to be a company. We are going to because we are actually partnering up with the government entities to help us with the. Shout out to Rain Rinaldi for his support to S21. So basically, we are going to always for the to industry-specific projects. We are always going to follow the regulations and whatever it takes. But eventually, we want to build the infrastructure of tomorrow, not to repeat it, basically.
Great question. Now I know today for some has been quite technical. Maybe some of us haven't quite caught up or kept up and wondering what the hell is going on. That's okay. But again, when I first was introduced to these different technologies through these different communities that I work with, in my head, I started off saying, if I get one thing that I didn't understand before, it's a win. So maybe if you're in that position now, like Graham was, and yourself, I've understood nothing. If you can take away one thing, it's a win. It's a win, all right? All right, so then what we're going to do, we're beginning to round up. I'd like a question from H.E.R, because I know you had a question before that I'm not sure if it's been answered yet. And I want to put it in hand. Yes. So we've got maybe 2 questions, and then you want to bring up some of the wonderful crew. We'll do that after. Okay, so Erhard, over to you.
Yeah, I'm just not yet clear in my mind as to how does this link to AI. Where is the link? What am I missing?
Okay, so pass the microphone to your right. Yeah, and then I'm going to let her sit with that question for a little while. So the link between AI and Web3. All right, what's that link?
The link. What's the link? Like, well, there is no link yet. AI, the way we now know, there's a lot of potential to merge the two. Because of their nature of like the open, I mean, there are some common notions like like being open source and everything. So like, it's not really something like internet, like to be the infrastructure or like that common product for the global citizens to learn, basically. So like, if not necessarily there is a link, but there are synergies and some certain principles that make them. Friends that make them be the different than the rest of the cutting edge technologies, basically. Implementation to any global business is very easy. It's not like there's a device here, and if we want to use this and or implement it to our business in Australia, we need to like. It's very easy. It's a plugin. It works with APIs, AI in that sense. Crypto also like it's global. You don't really need to like go knock on the door or someone who's holding the patent and like go through some regulations that and this. Like it's available to everyone. It doesn't mean everyone has the equal access, but it's available in theory. So. But the link in the link in terms of application and the use cases of it is for like the entrepreneurs and for like different groups to experiment and find a meaningful way to invest money, energy, time. So that's why we are actually like talking. I mean, giving space to also host AI-related talks because it is. Relevant to our century, like our time, it's relevant. Like when I first started my cognitive sciences masters in 2013, we were talking about AI, but like then before it was like genetics, but it was not really like there yet. Now it's there. Like now we can experiment. Now we can apply to like each like even if it's an H.E.R. related thing, like. So it's important to learn and then like maybe okay, I'm not going to use it until it does this. For me, it's like okay, for industry specific things, like it's amazing. It saves like a lot of company from like faster burn rates, basically. So that's like pretty good thing for like so we can because if you take startup as an experiment. Then you can experiment very fast, like invest your money, time, everything. It worked, it didn't work. You pass on to a different thing. So it saves all of us and a lot of time and effort. So like that's good. But does it excite me as crypto and blockchain does? Not really, because like I believe in what we can do as humans, and I'm more excited on that. But like obviously we need to like see if that can be a tool to empower the global communities and global citizenship even. So that would be like my answer if like that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have, I think, getting towards the last question before we invite some of the team.
By the way, I have a little eye infection, so that's why I don't have a.
But you know what? Like you've done pretty well. Like she sent me a photo earlier on of her eyes. And Rob, I'm gonna wear sunglasses. I was like, no. So I'm very happy that you made it. You know, and you don't look like One Eye Jack. Or think about a little eye patch.
Just adding more weirdness on my.
Just rocking the eye patch, misfit with the eye patch. I like it. We can do that. It's no problem.
That's gonna be a headline.
Over to you, my dear. Thank you.
Hi there. So I see that you're doing a lot of efforts to bring all the different parties together under your SATOSHI21 community. How are you going to measure the success of your community? Like what measurements are you going to use to be sure that you stay on track in reaching your final goals?
Okay, perfect question. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. This has a lot to do with what we are, what I previously said in response to Robert's question. One thing, like for instance, charity, or giving, whoever meets these standards, we now give the initial seed investment or whatever in terms of startups, or let's say I don't know, free flow all night, come to meet the other people kind of things. There are so many different ways that actually looks like you're giving something, but it's eventually if you try to measure the impact, it's like you're not doing much basically. So it's very important for us to each time elevate what we are doing with a little bit okay, what people actually are getting. The good thing is, and also the disadvantage of what we are now doing with acquiring the hub. Well, there are many points to freak us out, but one is basically we are not just opening a Web3 house. We are doing it after 3 years of doing these community events. So we had the chance to observe what are the needs of the community? What are these people are doing? Basically, without us being us just providing the space to discuss openly, to without much censorship going on, and just gathering them around the topic, around the keynote, like that and this. So we observed certain behaviors and certain activities among the community members, and we understood what creates that sense of belongingness, and also the reason to come together every time. It's around that culture, and we are trying to create the version of doing what we have been doing, or what they've been doing in a more systematic way, basically. So if they can come up, which did actually, so we know what to measure and how to measure. If they can come up, if people can come to the events and they in a couple of months they find their founders, co-founders, they find their team colleagues, they get investments from each others, and they kind of build long-time friendship and partnerships. And if they come startups after that, after one of our meetings and everything, so these are the contributing to the success of each other as individuals, and to the community as a whole, and to the projects. That's how we are planning to measure it, and it's a tough one, because the success is it's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon, right? How are we going to measure the impact on the long term? That's the real part. But yeah, that's basically what we are trying to refine every time we are actually doing event, because for me, event membership, that and this, these are not revenue resources that we put the pitch deck just to make it sound that we are doing a lot. These are the different names of one single ecosystem, because at the event you're going to build that conversation, and then you're going to basically, if the event is a success, then you're going to call that person tomorrow and try to initiate something. And if people think we are valuable enough to keep it in the loop, that's perfect. That's a success for us.
That's a measure. Thank you. Great question. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do now is, so you've got a few team members that you want to bring up. Maybe if we get one more of these chairs, and we'll do a bit of musical chairs. While we do that, just a quick announcement. So now tonight, it's all about Melissa, right? That's why I don't think I've asked many questions, which is fine. I kind of like that. So I think people now, have a greater understanding of your intellect, but also of your soul. And that was obviously early on, and then we moved from soul to intellect, which both are outstanding in my opinion, right? So that was the purpose of today, right? The first purpose. Then obviously the second and tertiary purposes were about this, right? So SATOSHI21, what is it about? So I think as well because, I used to run nightclubs for a long time, right? And the interesting thing about events and experiences like that is that, and each one of you will realize this after I say it, and you'll go like, oh, that's right. So what happens is that the venture that you create, be it a club, a bar, etc., what happens is that the personality of that venue mimics the personality of the owner or the person who's most involved with it. Yes. So if that venue has drug-related issues, sorry, just going to say it, it's the owner first, because it's the mentality and the values that is held there that then migrates down to the business. So in our communities, right, SATOSHI21 mimics you because you're the founder and you're the CEO. Yes, you have partners who are incredible people, some of which I've met, and co-founders as well, but that's where it comes from, the personality. So again, the point of tonight was for people to see you, right? How maybe they haven't seen you before. So then by seeing you, they see this.
Thank you so much.
All right, okay. So we got, if you bring in this stool, maybe Ayu, sister, or brother Hadis, if you bring in the stool, then we can, how many of your team members or partners would you like to bring up, Melissa?
I would like to call Temi, Tuhu.
It's okay. Yeah, we'll put it here, otherwise the camera will be out.
UD.
Yeah, okay.
Because someone needs to host them, right, in Bahasa.
Well, there you go, Bahasa, come on. So maybe one more Hadis.
I cannot give enough shout out to UD. Yeah. Like he started as a social media manager in us. With S21.
Let's just bring it all the way across. It's okay.
I was like, oh, so good. Like we have some
right, so
finally a Balinese team member.
So you can slide it up.
Like now he's a core part of like what we are doing. And thank you, Robert, for that introduction as well. And thank you, UD, for keeping all the promises and elevating.
All right, yeah, come and sit. So one more, yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right. So maybe what we do a couple at a time, yeah? Okay, so what we'll do is that we'll move up a little bit. All right, just a little bit more, Sister Mel. Yeah, so we'll slide these guys up. This is live TV, folks. This is how we roll. My darling, yeah. Come on in, yeah, there you go. And we'll try and get everyone in. We'll see how we go. Yeah, we'll see. So Sister Ayu, maybe if you get Hadis to adjust this camera here as well. Yeah. All right. So I would say, brothers and sisters, so is this everyone that you want to invite up here at the moment?
Yeah, there. Yeah. I mean, Rain also.
All right,
you don't want in?
We'll get Rain after.
Okay.
So if we put a little caveat on this, maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe a couple of minutes each, but I'll leave it to you, Sister Mel.
Okay, so Nakama and SATOSHI21 partnership is basically going towards like a partnership specifically to invest in Web3 projects coming out of Indonesian communities. And we are kind of like starting to, with the events, with the pitch events, and also then like a more formal incubation program. And they are in Web2, one of the biggest incubator in Indonesia. So Temi has both technical background and also very good in whole Indonesian go-to-markets, like knowing all the different locations and how to build the market penetration strategy. So, and it was Rain's idea to actually like bring two, like because they got a co-working at the same time also.
But Rain.
So thank you so much for that. So yeah, I mean now we are like being a sister companies, women-led sister companies. Like on that side, H.E.R with Tracy, like we being like we are kind of creating a women-led Web3 movement here.
Women's
so very happy.
Web3 community leaders. Female, love it.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Ian. Thank you. My name is Temi. This is my partner Tuhu, and we just our first time in this place, Tropical Nomad. Yeah. So I'm happy, we're happy, we can arrive here safely and there is no traffic when we arrive here. So there is my brother, Rain, brother meet in adult time. Ya, in Indonesia kakak ketemu gede ya. Brother but meet when we adult, ya, in different mother.
Lee Rain.
Yeah. Okay, and also with my advisor Johanna. Johanna also contribute to Nakama very much with her great network to make Nakama grow. So basically, yes, Melissa said that Nakama has been incubator and accelerator for past years, these past years, and we have 700 founder startup. Also
700.
700.
Nice number.
And while we do hackathon for the cybersecurity, we also have 6,000 hackers in Indonesia. Last year, it's last year.
So 6,000 hackers. Hackers out there, this is the one to join. If you're good. Right?
Yeah, and then SMA is in Bahasa Indonesia is UKM ya, UKM. It's a very different and variative industry. We have food and beverage, like sambal, keripik, floss, meat floss ya, abon. If you know abon, yes. And many things, in fashion also craft and like batik, songket, and many things, and turn into a wallet, bag, and many things. So we have like 4,000 SMA around in Indonesia and help them to receive the grant from corporation. So we select them the best, and we present the product, and then as SMA, the pain is the product is konsinyasi. Konsinyasi in English what? Konsinyasi. Oh, still konsinyasi. Okay, yeah. Or with the term of payment, with the long term of payment, so they hard to make their production with quick money. So with that pain, Nakama help them bridging the funding from the pension in English. What?
Pension.
Oh yeah, pension. Yeah, they have already pension fund from the company, just only like 5 million rupiah. We bridging to buy the product, and then we scale up to the market. So we have the letter from the government to empower this program. So every market, every corporate that we approach to buy, they must buy cash. So this program is already third batch, Mas Tuhu. And that's why I bring Mas Tuhu, because Mas Tuhu will more explain because my English is very.
No, but you know what? Egypt, we had a chat the other night, and I told you that I said I understand you perfectly, and I love the way also. So okay, there's a great, incredible villa here in Bali. There are many, and so SATOSHI21 had like a private event, which I went to, where she showcased some of these incredible people up here now. And I remember even with that one, you came on board, and it was like boxing. You came and went 1, 2. Everyone's like, oh, and he goes, I'll pass it on now. Like, that was great. Don't pass it on. That was great. So very, very good, darling. And of course, we'd love to hear Ifan Tuku as well, another amazing man. So.
Yeah. Hopefully,
practicing our own
languages. Yeah, hopefully with this collaboration, not only in business, not only expand our community, help young people and our network to think global but act local, because in Indonesia it's very different. We know in languages we have 100 language, we have many island. So
500 cultures.
yeah. So in every island, it should be have a business model different with the big city, with the small village. So yeah, beside that, I hope my English also improve. Okay, let's
You've
do.
done really
Thank
well.
you.
And what I hear again there is Gotong Royong.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. I keep hearing it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just helped me to make this nakama become bigger, and then because Temi wanted to have an international expansions and maybe bring up for international market who want to understand Indonesian market, because actually a lot of people want to go to Indonesian market, but they need some people who really understand the local markets, the behavior of those people, how to talk with the local government. It's not easy because mostly Indonesians, when you talk with the people who are more Western-minded, they cannot talk to the grassroots. But when you talk to the grassroots, they are not confident to talk with the foreigner. So, but the market is super big, and it's not easy like Temi, who has understanding about the local market everywhere in these islands, and then it's very hard to understand how to talk with the governments. I think Robert understands that, right? It's not very easy, especially if you are foreigners, because it's not only about the language, but the ethics, about how the untold story that they want to, expectation about your attitude and everything. That's why we want to bridge that part. We have an international mindset. I know what you want, and I know what they want, what they need, so we can mix together. Especially this Asian style, Indonesian style is very mysterious in terms of how they want to communicate, and they never want to say directly what they expect. So this is like, I think, a very good collaboration, especially with Melissa here. Melissa have a lot of international networks. We have a local network. We also want to empowering these local people. I also a lecturer in the university, and they really wanted to understand what we can do to be like bridging to the global market, but they don't understand. Even in Bali, I meet with a lot of people that I bridge with the digital nomad here in Bali, because they really don't know how to talk with the foreigner, but actually they want.
You know, one thing that you wouldn't know about this incredible man, he writes so well. I've read some of his articles about AI and about. Please just drop a few.
Actually, that's happened because of the AI, you know. Because with the ChatGPT, everybody is talking about what do you do with the ChatGPT. For me, it's augmented my skills. I now have the knowledge. I have the specific knowledge about the Indonesian market and everything, but when I must use my own skills, it will take years and times, so consuming a time to write something. But with ChatGPT, I can write around 3 or 4 articles for international market events. So I put it on modern diplomacy. Because I wanted to see about the perspective from the voice from the developing countries. It's quite different, and that is very unique, but it's not easy before the ChatGPT and the AI. So I thank God for this AI, so I can bring more. And then even like from the LinkedIn right now, a lot of people like approaching me because I want to focusing. We are positioning ourselves. We want to be like the American or UK or something. We want to serve how these developing countries need. What's their challenge? Because this challenge, these people, if you are not from the developing countries, you will not understand about this world. The infrastructure, the government bureaucracies, the inferiority complex, you will not understand that. I can bridge that, and I can understand how you can handle to these all markets. And I think Sammy here is more understanding about the grassroots. Actually, I just only in the middles. I can talk with the Western, I can talk, but actually to the grassroots, Tammy is much better than me. I will be also, honestly, will be very tired to talk with the grassroots. But Tammy will be very patiently can understand how to talk with this grassroots, because they need a lot of things. They are demanding, they are always complaining because they feel inferior. I know the problems, but of course I cannot entertain that. But Tammy is the one who can entertain that.
You know, what I hear is a great team. Complementary skill sets.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I hear, right? Beautiful. Last man sitting quietly, handsome. All right. Who are we looking at now? Yeah.
So you did that. What I was telling. So it's sometimes super hard for Yudi because sometimes like trying to catch up with like the whole thing that's like shaping every day, obviously. So it's not, I mean, he's doing a great job actually, because when I try to look at it from outside, like I was like, oh, sometimes I'm like changing things last minute, like a lot of like big community coming together, like those are coming from Jakarta. I'm pushing him to the place to like actually head this site, also construction and social media, like incredible. So I want to actually give the microphone to him to listen to your journey. Like how was it for you?
Thank you, Melissa. And yeah, just feels honored to be here. And just on top of it, I'm not getting used to be speaking in public, so I apologize if I'm a bit shaking. And yeah.
First of many.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, the journey with Melissa or S21 is a bit unique because it's just one day I waking up and then she just texts me out of nowhere. And there was like meeting her and then this whole project, you just like, wow. But again, I'm here to not represent myself, but my whole team. There's like Daniel, there is Cecilia, and there is Mahen, and just there's a lot of people behind this. And then I just grateful to be here. So I feel adopted in this beautiful journey, honestly. And then yeah, long story short, many people also ask me what I'm doing here, but I finding it's hard to answer because for me the answer is really simple. I'm here to just helping people, especially Melissa is just kind of like lift her up, because I know if I lift her up high enough, it will make a lot of big change around. Something like
Love that, brother.
Thank you.
My God, the soul.
So it's like sometimes they ask like going, what's the thing with Southeast Asia, Middle East, and like the reason for me here is like because crypto world is like very lonely actually, like the self-sovereignty, everybody's actually like by their own with their assets, with their like technical skills and everything, and when you put that in the Western world, it's even more lonelier. But in Southeast Asia, in Asian communities, in Middle East, we still have that community like every day. And this is what have been happening the last 1 week in the house now, in the villa. We are actually
I've been to that house. It's a great house.
Community house. And hopefully we are going to channel it into the core. But also with the team now, like we are going through like a lot of things, and hopefully it's kind of going to translate into that community house. And like we're not, I mean, of course, like I'm giving some tasks and everything, but at the end, like he's saying something, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's right, sure. Like it's, so hopefully it's more friendly. It's like because if we can do something a bit more different than like the classic corporate structures and everything, like that's the whole purpose. It's like an experimental place for everyone. So like I'm grateful. Actually, when Yudi first joined the team, there was no T-Hub project. Like there was no like it was right after a couple of weeks, and then he find himself into this like the whole thing as well. So now we have like beautiful new team members, all super young people with like.
You know what we're gonna do, right? So for those who watch SpeakuP Monday, we are way over time, but you know what? We don't care because we're still going. And I will get your question after if that's okay. So what I'd love to do, right? Rain, you're getting up here. Tracy, come on. Herdal, you're coming. Yeah. You're coming. Now, none of this was planned, right? So if we can say thank you to you, if that's okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change it around. Thank you so much. Yeah. Right. So come on, Tracy, come up here. Come up here. And see, you know you're coming. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. And Rain, come on, man. Yes, you. No, come up. The whole team. No. Come on, man.
Okay, my other team members then. If Mahan, Daniel, and Teresa, right. Maybe.
All right. Okay. Way over time, but we don't care. It's okay. Right. All right. So this is none of this has been planned. It's just how we roll. We don't mind. Your question while they're walking up here, my darling. Woo. Yeah. Rain, man. All right, fair call. So what we'll do, all right, is there one more team member? Yeah? One more? Don't let me have to come and grab you. All right, put the food down. Yes, you, come on, put the food down. Come and join us.
Come on, young lady.
Yeah, I will come and get you. I will come and get you in a nice way. All right, so we're going to just have a quick word from here. Then after that, we will wrap the show. Very late, but that's okay. And we're going to have one photo of everybody who's actually here. Now, you had one question. Do you want to shout it out, or do you want to? You okay? Yeah. You want a microphone? Sure. It's there. Yeah. So if we quickly reach that microphone back over to the lady over here, to Ayu. Yep, to Ayu over here. Yeah. And then we'll quickly do this question. She'll come up here. That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Ayu, she'll do it just there. And then we'll go to the other one. Yeah.
Hi, just a quick question. So you're preaching decentralization. Can you give me more insight in how you are set up as SATOSHI21? Are you set up as a decentralized autonomous organization? And if not, why not?
Great question. So
Perfect question.
We'll bring the microphone back. Yeah.
Okay, so decentralization is, again, if you're building a financial product, yes, you need to go for a decentralized system, because then you are getting rid of the central authority. Of course, if you're an incorporated, registered company, there needs to be some sort, like some entity. And the team structure, you can actually mimic a certain way of doing the whole thing. But eventually, SATOSHI21 for now is a consultancy and event management company. If we would want to do launch an on-chain product, that should be decentralized product. When we are pitching for decentralization, it is not about let's decentralize chair production or table production and everything. It's obviously there's a good match to decentralize the financial activities or other certain production methods can be communication, that and this. When we are actually talking about startups or the idea of other projects, how to move this idea to Web3 and everything, this is the first question we are asking. Do you really need blockchain for that? Because most of the times you don't need it. Most of the times it's a bit more you will need to spend more time, more money, more resources, and if your thing doesn't really need to accommodate billions, millions, a couple of 100,000 people to do the same thing with one consensus model, then you don't need to decentralize it. But what we can do for all, while pitching decentralization for all these sort of projects to be decentralized, but everything that we are... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So while we are pitching for decentralization for these type of projects, when we have 7 people in the team and everything, there's not much to decentralize. But what we are doing basically is sometimes trying to mimic certain ways of it. So now, for instance, when we have a community in Kuala Lumpur, in Manila, Philippines, these are the things that's actually they can do the same, but we would just help with resources. There's not much of a if anyone, for instance, would like to do the Singapore S21 events, that they could actually. What we are doing, because then there's there's a risk assessment when you actually build a company to do event organization. We need to do that compliant. We cannot avoid that. Yeah, I mean, how do you decentralize a 7-people event management company? If you have any ideas to do that, we are happy to listen to. But maybe we could give this.
Yeah. So for those of you who can't see, great question, and she's nodding in agreement. So I think after this, there's going to be a deal made. You heard it here first. Thank you very much indeed. Wonderful. Love that. So this is the thing I told you before, right? Or I shared it before. 3 things: Gotong Royong, right? Pancasila, and Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. So if you look now, unity and diversity, are you kidding me? Like we've had maybe 10 different nationalities up here in one team. Love it. So let's hear from you. Maybe, just a quick word of, what are you doing there? What brought you there, right? Just a little, that's it, all right? And then we're going to go to Tracy after that, yeah.
For sure. Thank you, Robert. And I think it's been a journey as well for me as a part of S21 from the first 280 members back during COVID. And Melissa been asking me, giving a chance, an opportunity to scale up and elevate within the journey, which is now 1,800 members globally. And yeah, it's been very, very exciting, very, very nurturing experience to be a part of the growth as well, and the vision that she brings to the community as well as the people around the world, that giving a fair chance as a part of decentralization that you asked before, is especially supporting women in Web3 and escalating their career in the blockchain space. So it's been very, very rewarding, very, very memorable, and escalating to this point as a personal experience and professionally. So thank you so much for the opportunity and connecting with the local communities and inspiring people. Like Robert's tagline, people inspire people, that's pretty much what we've been doing for the past 2 years. And so amazing.
One quick question for you. That was beautiful, by the way. One thing, and if you have to come back to it, we'll go to Tracy, it's okay.
Sure.
One thing that you've learnt during your time, what would you say that is? Something that has impacted you?
I think it's the beliefs. I think like how you motivate people, and like the belief, and that brings confidence in you and believing in yourself that you can find that potential in you. That's been one thing that I learned so far. So that the belief is amazing. So
love that. Remember the mirror is there. What you are becomes. Love it, sister.
Thank you.
So a little bit about H.E.R DAO and what brought you here, because I always love it when you explain H.E.R DAO with that beautiful accent of yours. Come on, let's hear it.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Bowen. I'm the founder of H.E.R DAO. H.E.R DAO is a diverse developer DAO. We mainly focus on women, and it all centers around building, really. We have a mantra that if we want the future to look like us, then we have to build it, basically. I've been in Web3 for, well, we never called it Web3. We called it like crypto back in the day, but I've been here for around 10 years, and before, it was very esoteric. It was very hard to get into. Only developers and technical people were building. Now it's a lot easier. But, for me, if we want to see products that work for us, then more ordinary people need to start building things. Why am I in Bali? Is that
goosebumps?
I was going to say, are you cold? Why am I in Bali? Is that the next question?
Yeah.
Actually, I was in Bali in lockdown, and I think that was one of the first times I came to Bali, and I was here for 6 months, and it was beautiful because there was no one here. But yeah, this whole kind of southeast region, I mean, I was kind of coming to Asia a lot anyway, so it's more like my spiritual kind of home, like the whole of kind of Southeast Asia. But it's just one of those parts of the world where, I can see a lot of growth, a lot of potential, and somewhere where I'm kind of comfortable being. So like, anywhere I go, I always just automatically start building communities, start partnering with people. Like literally, if I've talked to you for 2 minutes, I've already partnered with you.
I love your choice. Question, quick one.
Yes.
You strike me as, just about everyone who's been up here, as a force of nature, right? That's how, I'm sure everyone feels it as well. And quite often, everyone who's been up here is a giver. Right? It means that,
yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure. You can feel it, right? So you're a giver. So the thing with givers is that there are times where we give so much that we forget to give to ourselves. Right? Especially in this particular industry, from what I've observed, it's about, I've been working 18-hour days for a week trying to get this project
Is
out.
it the harakiri part of the program?
It's been a month and I've slept 2 hours a night. I'm like, geez, right? But it's launching, right? So if people are watching now, and this is, you choose whether it's personal or it's business, how can people contribute to you?
How can people contribute to me?
Either personally or business, you choose.
I mean, I'm just open for connections. So, whether it be Twitter, at Onali or Herdao, H.E.R, connect with us. If you've got ideas, if you want to start businesses, I literally just love talking ideas with people, and innovation's one of our things as Herdao, as a group, but personally as well, I'm always on the forefront. I don't even call myself techie really. I run a group of developers, but I'm more of a futurist. So wherever the cutting edge is, that's where I need to be. That's where I'm most comfortable being. So anyone with any wacky ideas, I'm really into listening to it. But yeah, it's kind of, as Melissa was talking about reciprocity. I said it. Oh my God. But yeah, it's that kind of two-way thing. But you're absolutely right in that we give, but it's a purpose-driven life. So we enjoy doing it, but there is a point where we do have to look after ourselves. And this whole kind of Web3 thing is very 24/7. But we have to be careful that we don't make it toxic and we don't replicate this kind of Web 2 world of kind of being always on, because we're trying to make this inclusive and we're trying to make this friendly for women, and women have children, women have families, and we're not trying to say you can only come into Web3 if you can always be on. That's not what we're trying to do. So it's also about making and building a new culture. Right?
Love it. Now, last but not least, Bhavna, put your hand up. You two are going to jam together. I've got a feeling about it. That's it. All right. So next, the microphone to you, my dear. Yeah. So what brings you here?
Teresa joined recently
go,
to our team. Very successful young talents. Very happy to collaborate with her.
Yeah.
Just to give
Hi.
a little intro.
So I'm Teresa Chandrawinata. I just recently joined S21 SATOSHI21 with Melissa. My background is actually not Web3. I'm from a very Web 2 typical corporate world. I was in fintech, I was in agri-tech, and all over the place. And I'm looking for something new actually when I met Melissa. And Web3 is something that I'm really interested in, and it's far more than just trading crypto, because back then all I know is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, meme coins and stuff. So it's actually more than that. There's community, for example. There's investment. There's DAOs and everything. So it's a far bigger world out there, and that's why I'm so interested in it. And why S21, why Melissa? Because she gives us this community, and I look up women leaders, especially not only in Web 2 but also in Web 3, and I really look up how she make this small community, just a friend group thing that can grow big, into something that's people can really come to her and collaborate and do great things together and push it forward and give also to each other. So I think that really interests me, and really if you want to compare to between Web 2 and Web 3, Web 2 it's there's no community at all. It's really hard to reach out to people, especially in partnerships. And if in Web 3 and people are so they reach out to you and they're excited to collaborate with you, to partner up with you, and making great things together. So yeah, that's really why I'm here. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah,
and you're doing a great job.
Love your energy. Love you. It's oozing out of you. Yeah, the excitement, the community aspect, the fact that you feel part of a tribe is what I'm feeling.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, I feel it loud and clear.
You're only starting.
All right, so one of the longest episodes we've had for a while. That we used to do 2 hours and a half.
All of the ones I
know.
Yeah.
I should have known. If Melissa's on, my sister Melissa, I call her Sister Mel. I should have just realized, hey, listen, shut the gate. It's 2 hours, right? But anyway,
Give them pillows.
I know, pillows, coffee. Oh, I love it. Tropical Nomad. I need to eat after this. Guzman, help me out. Are you? Oh, just a pestle. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to bring the show to a close. The way we're going to do that, so I'll give you a bit of time to think, is I'm going to say a few words, and then after that, we're going to go to you, and it's just something to close with, right? Include, obviously, SATOSHI21 and how people can contact you and connect with you, because by now people get a really good sense of you and the crew, the collective, right? Which is beautiful. And also, if there's just something left for you to say that you just feel, yeah, I need to say this thing before I go, say that thing too, all right? So you've got about 2 or 3 minutes. So for you at home, usually SpeakuP Monday is about an hour long. Today's been probably about 2 hours, but that's how we roll. So just keep in mind, we're here every Monday at Tropical Nomad. Tropical Nomad are a technical partner, some of my best friends, incredible people, incredible place. And the vision that they have, that we have, that's what unites us. How do we create a society, a community which looks after each other, where Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is part of it, where Gotong Royong is part of it, where an understanding of Pancasila, 5 guiding principles of Indonesia, are also part of it, and how do we propel that into the future? So that's what we're created, right? That's what we're creating on a daily basis. And as I mentioned before, SpeakuP Monday is in about 10 different communities, blockchain is one, and it never started like this. It started off as a way for people to go on a Monday, a day where 3 friends in Sydney committed suicide. Long story. Monday was the day. Monday is a time of the week where I feel very strongly that we need to drop a stone of positivity in a still pond, and the ripples of positive waves on a day where it can go the other way. That's how it started. That's why people inspire people, unity and diversity. So every show, it connects to that, right? So I just want to thank you, Sister Mel, and the whole crew that's been on here tonight, the crew that have been watching, the ones who are still sitting here wondering, my God, this is long, right? Thank you to all of you, those who asked questions, those who didn't ask questions, all of you, thank you so much. And I'll close with, so as you know, the funding, building a very comprehensive, powerful ecosystem and platform to support and add value to entrepreneurism and investment here in Indonesia. One of the initiatives is happening in 2 weeks' time, which is the AI conference, very specialized conference for AI in business. Melissa will be there, there'll be a few others there, and she'll do the talk on the connection between AI and Web3. Yeah, and ethics, I love that. So we'll put that information out there, but just look out for it. There's a press conference tomorrow where it all becomes official, so you will hear about that at the Trans 29 and 30, and kicks off here at Tropical Nomad with an incredible, exciting pitch battle on the 28th. So look out for that. Woo. Thank you, Sister Ayu, Guzman, Hadis is around here somewhere, and Ichi, there you are, and Brother Ichi, thank you very much indeed. And look, so we'll leave it over to you, Sister Mel, to say a few words, and then we'll close the show after that.
I think I just want to reply to what you just said about like giving and sleep depleting yourself and your resources. Like a year ago, we were here like just a day before today, actually. I felt that like I kind of felt that like, okay, I'm giving this up. Like I cannot find any more meaning in it and everything. And it's like, because I think like so many people would have given up already. So it was never easy. Like it's like things are never easy, but you give to a lot of people, a lot of projects, that and this, and it's like, and some people reciprocate it, and it's worth that. And you, obviously, like, what kind of endless support, Ichi, here, like, and team. Like, I mean, if I like started, like, put my faith, like, in a little bit, elevating it for like that much and like keeping up with this fast pace Bali life. It's just not a Bali life, like living a startup life in Bali kind of vibe. Like, thank you so much. And thank you. How can you find us? We actually have like an event every month, and you can find us in our new location in Batu Belig. In 26, 27 of August, we're going to have our opening, and you can find us online in our channels www.SATOSHI20.1 written. It's harder. We should be yeah. So SATOSHI20.1 all letters. Yeah. Thank you so much, Robert. You've been amazing support since day one. And yeah, whatever you do, we'll be there.
Thank you so much. A round of applause, everybody who's left.